Have you ever had a creative block and the world just speaks to you?
It's an FPS, but bullets don't kill people, they just knock them backwards.
You know, it's not the most original idea, but it should be a fun project to work on for a little bit. So you create a Unity project, you build a small arena, you make a character controller, you set up split screen support because networked multiplayer is a fucking nightmare. You build a basic interaction and inventory system, you download a weapon pack from Kenny Assets, and then you implement guns into the game. No? Okay. You would never guess what I've been up to. I'm Frank, and I don't have a better camera angle to shoot this from. I've been blocked for a little bit on my main project, Castle Wars, which I tried to get unblocked by reworking the networked character controller, which also got blocked. So I figured let's work on something simpler. Maybe let's remove the whole networked multiplayer bit because I just have some bad vibes right now. So let me show you how far I've gotten into this project. You didn't think it was done already, did you? The map is an octagon, surrounded by lava, surrounded by bleachers to spectate from. I also added some basic post-processing, motion blur, chromatic abrasion, bloom, and some extra saturation. If you want to see how you can make a game with no art assets and just post-processing, then check out this video. Okay. The player spawns inside of a drop zone and falls onto the playing field. You may notice that there are two zones on the map. One is a drop zone in which players and items are going to spawn and fall into. The other drop zone looking thing is where the shop is going to come up from. The shop is where players can buy weapons, throwable items, traps, and pay to respawn their dead teammates. The buttons make a nice click sound when you press them, and there is one button on the end that lets us start the round. When the player buys a weapon, it spawns attached to a little parachute which falls down to the ground and leaves the weapon which the player can pick up. There's 4 weapons for the player to use. I had to put together quick unholster and fire animations for each. By the way, quick tangent, I decided to implement a rule of 4 players max, 4 weapons, 4 traps, 4 items that can be held at a given time, 4 enemy types, and 4 locations for the enemies to spawn. This is just to keep the project's scope in check. Throwable items, enemies, and traps are going to be coming in later devlogs. So far, the enemies exist in a very primitive form. They spawn in and fall down with a red trail underneath, just to let the player know where they shouldn't be standing, since an enemy touching you might be what kills you, but the enemies don't move yet. You can shoot them and they'll be knocked back. You can use the rocket launcher on them, and they're killed in the lava at the edges of the arena, kind of like how you can die in the lava at the edges of the arena. We should talk about combat. So the whole premise is that guns don't deal damage, they just knock the enemies back. So your goal as the player is to survive waves by shooting the enemies back into the lava around the arena. To do that, the players have access to weapons and later some traps and throwable items. There's 4 weapons. The pistol is the cheapest. You can afford it before the first round. It does the least amount of knockback, but it's reliable and can get you through a wave or so. Next up is the rifle. The rifle does more knockback, has more bullets, and fires faster, so it's a go-to once you can afford it. Third, we have a shotgun. It fires multiple pellets and it can absolutely launch enemies across the map. Lastly, there is a rocket launcher, which knocks back everything within a radius, including you, meaning you can 1000% rocket jump, and it leaves a giant decal on the ground to show where you shot. So the weapons have sounds, but they are so improperly mixed I don't want to show them off right now, and they have their own unique crosshairs from Kenny Assets. As far as UI goes, I've built a few menus. There's a main menu, a settings menu, and a pause menu. I also added an extremely basic HUD. Since the player doesn't have abilities or health that we need to keep track of, we only have to worry about inventory, which is on the bottom of the screen, and interaction, which is right under the crosshair. There's one last piece of UI, and I'm not even sure if this one counts. It is the scoreboard. The players can see this inside the arena, but it doesn't take up HUD space. It's just floating in the world. The scoreboard tracks the round number, the round phase, type, payout, as well as the amount of money that each player has. I also built a room for dead players to stay in while they are dead. If you're playing with a friend or 3 and someone dies, they'll lose their inventory and be sent to the Shadow Realm, which is this platform with 2 TVs. The 2 TVs allow dead players to spectate. One TV views the arena field and the other one shows the scoreboard, since you're not able to see that from the Shadow Realm. I guess that's it. You should watch this other video of mine. It's pretty entertaining. Other than that, I'll see you soon. Peace.